This one's gonna be a doozy. I just read an article, and the article was the Times of Israel, so we know which way it'll lean. But I clicked on it because it said Operation Narnia. I know Narnia. I know the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I know that the lion was supposed to be Jesus Christ, Jesus, JC, or God, but it was one of those, right? And that's what that whole series is about. It's about religion, with the backdrop of World War II. I believe. I haven't seen this since I was a kid. You know, I think I read the first book and then I didn't really read the rest of the series. The only series I stuck with was Harry Potter. That was it. And that's probably because I knew his birthday was going to be July 31st, as mine is. That's probably the only reason I stuck with it. Might be telling, I guess, that I didn't stick with the Christian one. I stuck with the witchcraft one. But I love Lord of the Rings. The guy who wrote Lord of the Rings was very Christian, right? Okay, we're getting away from the plot. Anyways, I'm trying to ease myself into this because it made me pissed. Operation Narnia. And in the article, it talks about how Mossad used special weapons to kill 10 nuclear scientists in Iran. It said they thought that they were safe in their homes, but they were being tracked. They do not give these men or women, it just says 10 nuclear scientists. Maybe they were women, I don't know. Women, I don't know. They don't say, or I don't know if they were all men. I'm assuming because of the religious regime, I'm assuming it was all men. And it just says they killed them, and it talks about the weapon. It does not name them. It does not say if they had children. It does not say what their parents thought about this. It does not say anything about their hopes, dreams, nothing. 10 nuclear scientists dead. I'm not stupid, and I'm not stupid enough to believe that all 10 of these people, I shouldn't say men, 10 of these people had completely ill intentions and were waking up every single day thinking about killing Israel. I assume that they were all human beings, and that I assume that because they were all human beings, I'm assuming that they're all human beings, right? Because who knows what Israel will say. Israel will say whatever they want to say, just like the Ayatollah regime will say whatever they want to say. They'll say whatever they want to say to make themselves look good. It is what it is. They're both incredibly biased. But I'm assuming because they were humans, that they had hopes and dreams and fears, and they had elements of good and bad in them, because it's what I have in myself. And there was only a few comments underneath, and the comments were very negative, except for one. One comment asked the question, did they kill their wives and children? And then underneath it, a Jewish person responded and said, no, that's them. They target hospitals. They target schools. They kill innocent people, not Israel. But you're one of the people who thinks that Israel is bad and everybody else is good. Look at the cognitive dissonance that exists there, right? A simple question was asked. What did they do with their wives and their children? How were these people, you're telling me all of these people lived alone? You went into these people's house? What about the trauma? Even if you didn't kill them, what about the trauma? You just made somebody a widow. You just made someone lose their father. How dare you? How dare you try to intellectualize that? You're disgusting. You're pathetic. Any person, I don't give a fuck what side you're on, any person that doesn't have the ability to second guess themselves and be like, this is a human being, What pain and suffering am I going to cause? You are a loser, and I do not care about you. I don't hate you. I don't want you to die, but I think that you're a loser, and I think you deserve a stern talking to. I think you deserve to be embarrassed. I think you deserve to be humbled. I think you deserve to have your ego ripped apart at the seams. And I think that you should go and you should figure yourself out. You should go sit in a corner. Hurt people hurt people. I have not lost anybody in war. I don't live in a zone where all of my neighbors don't fucking like me. I wouldn't live in that zone, baby. I'd leave. I'm sorry, logical thinking. Deuces, I'm out. Bye. But I do know what it's like to deal with abuse. I do know what it's like to have the people I love most fail me. I do know what it's like to have friendships and romantic relationships take advantage of me and use me because I was very meek and very soft and mistreat me. And I know what it's like to become hateful, and I know what it's like to become angry, and I know what it's like to become a version of yourself that you hate because of the actions of others. I know what that's like. That just happened to me earlier this morning. I sometimes feel like my boundaries fall on deaf ears, and they fall and they fall and they fall and they fall on deaf ears. And then I got angry. Instead of looking at my own personal obligations and responsibility to, well, if they're not gonna listen, I gotta move differently. And I reacted in anger. I said things I didn't mean, things that I can't take back, things that were cathartic in the moment, but now after it's said and done, I'm like, fuck, I don't like that I did that. I'm ashamed of myself for having done that. The older I get, the more I realize that people like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Henry David Thoreau, I don't know about Gandhi because there's a couple of like weird stories about him. There's like weird stories about Mother Teresa too, so I don't know. And I don't know, I'm not a very religious person, but if he existed, if he didn't exist, it doesn't matter. But the stories of Jesus Christ, the older you get, the more you're like, you did what for humanity? Why? Why did you do that? Are they worth it? You sacrificed yourself. You sacrificed all of yourself for humanity? That crusty, dusty, musty species? Wouldn't be me. If I was friends with Jesus in the before times, one, I would be so happy with the fish and the breads. I would be so happy because I'm a chubby, chunky ass nugget. I'd be like, Jesus, come on, can you batter and deep fry that fish? How about give me a focaccia bread? Can we throw that in the mix? And be like, oh, it didn't exist. I don't care. I figure it out. Batter and deep fry that boy. Make some bacalitos, you know? It's not just fish and bread. Like, let's add some seasoning. Let's figure this out, you know? Sure, he could make water into wine. I don't know that I'd probably start asking for a rosé. I would test his patience. I would test the patience of Jesus Christ. And, you know, I'd try to make him some sandals. The sandals would be cockeyed. They would make him look bow-legged. He would have to, he'd be walking kind of funny. One would be too big, one would be too small, but he would like wear it because he'd be like, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings, you know, she did her best. But I gotta be honest with you, I'd probably talk him out of saving humanity. I'd be like, Jesus, for what? You're gonna suffer? You, King of Kings, the peach, the sweetheart of Nazareth, sweetheart, you're going to sacrifice yourself for these raggedy assholes, these dusty, crusty, musty imbeciles? Really? Nah, I would have talked him out of it. I was like, bro, because they say that when he killed himself on the cross, or no, he didn't kill himself, when he sacrificed himself on the cross, right? that he saw all the future of humanity. He saw all of this and he was like, nah, humans are still worth it. He saw humans falling in love with AI robots. He saw the how many families are completely and totally dysfunctional. He saw the hatred that people have for each other for the most arbitrary reasons. And he's like, yeah, I'll do this. This is an old George Carlin joke, but he saw the ice capades and he was like, no, I'm still gonna do this. I'm here for them, you know? He saw all the different types of porn that exist and he was like, you know, the Brazilian fart porn, it's kind of theatrical with the glitter. So I guess I'll try. Like, he saw all of that and you're gonna tell me this man was still like, yep, still down for the cause? Would have talked him out of it. I would have talked him out of it. What are we talking about here? What are we doing here? You know, so many things can be true at the same time. The Holocaust was a terrible, awful endeavor. Anti-Semitism is disgusting. But Israel is a government and their actions are disgusting. How they move is disgusting. It is tiring how, you know, that. And then, too, the Iranian religious regime can also suck. That can also suck. All of these things could be true. You're over here, it's just the lack of humanity and how and the lack of honesty. You gonna be a son of a bitch, be a son of a bitch with your full chest. This is the thing, as I get older too, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it's the truth, I have more respect, even though it's like this much. Like, don't think it's like this much. It's like a eyelash compared to the nothingness that I have for other people, right? I have an eyelash of respect for straight up racist people who will be like, yeah, I don't like that person, I don't like this group, and I don't like this group. Who will straight up be like, I know I'm a son of a bitch and I know I'm hateful, but I am who I am. Versus the people who will pretend that they are kind-hearted people, the people who will pretend that they are evolved, who will pretend that they are, they walk, talk, and move in their humanity when they are okay with other people getting killed for arbitrary reasons. You know, I think that everybody has had thoughts of, you know, what would I do if someone I loved, someone's life was in danger? What would I do if I was in a position to help somebody? You always hope that you're the person to help somebody. You always hope that you can protect your loved ones, right? I think that I would still fucking mourn like, you gotta be real fucking evil. Like, you gotta be like fucking Ted Bundy levels of evil for me to be like, I'm okay that I killed you. You know what I mean? Like, I would still be like, fuck, dude. Like, maybe not mourn for them, but be sad about the situation. Like, fuck, it doesn't have to be like this. There's always other ways. There's always other ways, you know? Do the people in Israel really have to live there? Let's be honest. If you are surrounded, if you have to have panic rooms and you have to have iron domes and shit, is it really worth it? It's not even a pretty land, if we're being honest. To Palestine and Israel, that land is ugly. It's not even that good looking, if we're being honest. It's not like you're in Maui. It's not like you're in Tahiti. What the fuck are we doing here? Over a desert. Even the ocean sucks. It's the salt sea. Even that fucking sucks. You're gonna, you know, and I'm not saying, like, if you really want to be there and you want to try to make it work, try to make it work. But you live in fear all the time and you're losing your humanity and you're becoming hateful because you're constantly looking over your shoulder. Is it really worth it? There's so many other places to live. There's Tahiti. Colombia has a lot of islands. There's islands all over. Like, Spain has a lot of islands. There's, you know, the fucking, where else is it warm? So many places. You know, Puerto Rico's going through some stuff. You know, live on a resort on Punta Cana. Like, what are we talking about here? You're losing your humanity because you're starting to become so hateful, because it's just losses and losses, and you killed my kid and I kill your kid, and you're all, and look at it. Look at how I'm acting. The world just keeps seeing this. Will there ever be peace in the Middle East? No, because everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. Humans sucks. We are deeply, deeply social creatures. Having good, sustaining relationships fuels our survival. It is a part of us. And yet everywhere you look, to the left, to the right, up and down, relationships are fractured. How many friendships are transactional? How many romantic relationships are just built on this looks good? You give me what I want. Now listen, for some people it works. If you know what it is, you know what it is. How many people deny who they are as a human being because what might others think? How many people lie about who they are to fit in? And you know, they really might just be a regular schmegular dude or girl, or they might be kind of basic, but you know, now with the internet, it's all about being special. It's all about being a baddie. It's all about being a unique. So now you're going on and you're doing all this extra shit, and that's not you. How many of us really truly know who we are? How many of us can really stand on our own business and be like, okay, yeah, I've been through some awful things. I've had some people really hurt me and really screw me over, but I'm not gonna let it change me. I'm not gonna let it make me angry. I'm not gonna let it make me hateful or hurtful. It's hard to do. I fail all that I can. I get to a point, and then, you know, my coping mechanism is to bury it and bury it and bury it and bury it, and that's not helping. It's not helping anybody. So if I have trouble on a smaller scale, it makes so much sense that people have it on a larger scale. The world sucks. It sucks. It is brutal. It is awful. It is bleak, and it is dark. And even, you know, even if we didn't have all that, just the trajectory of a human life is hard. It's brutal. You know, the people you love will die. You're gonna die. And I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with dying. I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't do this shit forever. I'm tired. But you don't know when you're gonna die. A lot of the illnesses suck. They're painful. There's no guarantee that people are gonna be around to walk you through that. There's no guarantee that the people who are in charge of taking care of you are gonna do a good job. Look no further at like abuse rates in the senior living centers. We're cruel. We are cruel. We are cold. We are callous. We don't know how to deal with our emotional feelings. We lack critical thinking skills. We lack rational thinking skills. We lack, we're starting to lose the ability to note nuance and complexity in issues. We suck. Jesus made a mistake. He made him, and I'm not coming for people who are very religious. I'm not. I think it's beautiful. I think whatever gets you through the day. Religion loses me once people use their religion to hurt or subjugate other people. That's when you lose me. And the same with atheism and agnosticism. You could just quietly have your beliefs. Nobody needs to know your beliefs. It's your, you know, it's your business, and you don't need to put other people down because of what you believe. You know what I mean? And you sure as hell don't need to use your beliefs to make arguments for why other people are not as worthy as you. It's disgusting. It's really, really gross, and it's depressing.